When a business owner typically views their assets of the business, they think of the buildings that they have, they may think of the vehicles that they have, their employees, their team, but very rarely do they initially consider that business personal property. The business personal property are the tools, the machinery, the items that are used on a daily basis, maybe taken to a job site, and how is that coverage applied or not applied on your current commercial package. Of course, it's important to review, again, the building coverages, the vehicles, make sure the right drivers are on there, the liability portion, but that business personal property is also very critical, because what happens if your machinery goes out? In that worst case scenario, if the building catches on fire, what about all the contents in the structure? If a tornado comes through, what about all of the tools in the vehicles, in the buildings? And those types of items can really add up very quickly if you need to replace. Some business owners feel that business personal property can be confusing, but this video is going to walk through those options and kind of some of those details and what business personal property looks like for you. So as a business owner, just think through practically what are the contents that the business owns. Again, in that worst case scenario, what about the office supplies? What about the desks, the furniture, the machinery, the tools? How much money would it cost to add up and to repurchase all of those items all at one time? If you were to actually put all those items on a list and you're thinking brand new all at the same time, that value is likely much higher than what you may initially think off the top of your head, which is where this business personal property coverage comes into play, and you want to ensure that there is a proper limit that's in store to replace those items for your business so that you can keep moving forward after a claim. This is also critical coverage if you are a service-based business, to where you not only have your own contents, but you also have your customers as well. You have their vehicles on site, you have their machinery, their tools, things that you are fixing up to repair and give back to them. There's separate limits and coverages for not just your property, but also your clients while it is in your possession. Some common examples of business personal property could be your equipment. So again, your tools, your machinery, those items that come into play, what you need to use on a daily basis in order to continue your business moving forward. There's also the furniture that you have at your location for you, your employees, your customers that are coming in. What about, the lounge, items like that that really add up if you need to replace all those types of furniture and belongings. There's the inventory. If you're in a manufacturing setting, you probably have inventory. You have, your goods that are sitting there, inventory that's ready to be constructed, to be built, to be used in various different ways. Your inventory counts as your business personal property, and those are also physical, tangible items that can be lost at the time of a claim. Your electronics are a big one. So what about your computers, cell phones, items like that? Printers can also add an additional cost to that. Again, that personal property of others. So for your customers, for your employees, people that have their items at your location, those types of items can provide coverage for them. So with personal property of others, there's the care, custody, and control. Coverage you're going to want to add on there for your liability while you are in possession of others' items and their belongings. There's also fixtures when it comes to light fixtures, when it comes to other items that can be added into the cost of owning a building. There's the signage expenses that can again all add up if needing to be replaced at the same time. Improvements and betterments is also a common one that you don't think about if you are renting your space. But if you put money into improving it, bettering it, so that your business can flow at this location, that can also have some coverage at that time of a loss for the amount of money you have put into this leased location. Business income or business interruption coverage is also critical. So this is going to be how much money does your business lose at the time of a claim. So if your machinery goes down and you cannot produce the same inventory and the same materials you had before, how much money is gone for 1 month, 2 months, 6 months? What's that business income interruption coverage look like? How much income can you have replaced to keep the lights on, to pay your employees, to essentially avoid your business from going under at the time of a major loss? And another common endorsement, especially if you're in the food industry, would be spoilage coverage. So what about the food, the produce, items that you have? What if they spoil in a relative short period of time while there is equipment breakdown or machinery that's damaged? That spoilage, want to have coverage for those items as well. So what type of businesses really need the business personal property coverage? Pretty much every business that uses tangible items, right? So anybody, again, that has any of these items that we've just listed off, whether it's big, whether it's small, you probably don't want to have to replace all of those items out of your pocket at the same time in that worst case scenario. So work with your agent, try to figure out what that appropriate value is and what you are needing covered for in that worst case scenario. When it comes to providing business personal property coverage in natural disasters, that's going to be different based on per state. Specifically in Ohio, all policies exclude coverage to earthquake or flood damage. If you want that type of coverage, you can generally add it on to your commercial package policy. You can purchase another policy to provide flood insurance, but those types of perils are going to be excluded for your building and the business personal property at the time of a claim. A common question we've seen, especially over the last couple of years, a lot more people working from home and remotely, is do I need business personal property coverage with a home-based business? The short answer is yes. Again, for those tangible items, those items that you have at home, there is generally very, very limited coverage included on your homeowner's policy for such. There's not going to be any business liability coverage, but for the business personal property, generally $1,500, maybe generously $2,500 is going to be included for those types of contents. To provide proper coverage on there, you're going to want a separate commercial policy to provide those limits, again, to replace that business contents. What's not covered by business personal property insurance, I would recommend those policy documents. When you get them, one of the first pages you can look through is the exclusions. What kind of perils, what coverages are not included on this, and you can look through those details. As mentioned before, specifically in Ohio, floods and earthquakes are pretty common exclusions that are stated on every policy, so those types of items are going to need separate purchase for. The cost of business personal property coverage is going to be different in every single case. Are all of your business personal property, all that equipment on site, just at the one location? If you're a contractor, how much of that are you taking on site to job sites? That's going to be two different types of coverages you'll need listed. Again, how much coverage you need. Obviously, if you need more coverage, it's going to cost more than if you need a little coverage. So what types of tools, equipment, machinery are you using? What do you have in your commercial vans? Those types of items are what we're going to look at to see what's the appropriate value, and then therefore what's the appropriate cost associated. In conclusion, the business personal property coverage is a critical aspect of your commercial package policy. Would highly recommend for you to review that coverage, for your agent to sit down with you. If you need an agent to look through that, it's been a few years, you haven't heard from anyone to review those coverages, we'd love to have a conversation with you at Hitchings Insurance as we work with businesses small, medium, and large to ensure that they have the proper coverage as they see fit at the time of a claim. Because there's one thing that's for certain, it is better to be proactive than reactive when it comes to the payout of an insurance claim policy. If you found this video helpful, we will be producing more videos to help business owners ensure that they have the proper coverage they want and they need for their various risks and what they have going on. So you can like, follow, and subscribe to us on the platform you're watching, and we appreciate your support.